Hello, so creatives, it's Faustina here. Welcome to another interesting tutorial. On today's tutorial, we are going to learn how to cut and sew this stylish built-up neckline, organza top, and a puff sleeve. You can see how beautiful the top is looking on me. You can rock it with your short skirt or short knicker, and the sleeve hand is also giving corporate and stylish baby girl outfit. You can see how nice it's looking on my body. So if it's something that you would like to learn, please keep watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and also press the notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified each time we upload our beautiful video. Let's move over to our cutting table. This is the material we are working with. It's 3.5 years of cream organza. The texture is very fine, and the face is very shiny and creamy. It's our pattern drafting paper, our pattern cuff, our ruler, our marker and scissors. Let's move over to our drafting table. I've gone ahead to lay my pattern very flat on my table. From one edge of the paper, I'm going to come in by 3 inches. I'm going to mark it into several places, and I'm going to rule it out like so. And from the upper part as well, I'm going to also come down by 3 inches and also going to rule it out like so. After getting our starting line, we now start marking out all our vertical lines. From my starting line, I came down by my armhole depth. How do you get your armhole depth? Your bust divide by 6 plus 1.5 inch allowance and plus extra 1 inch for your shoulder slope allowance. After getting the value, you are going to input the value into several places and rule it out like so. After ruling it out, I also went ahead to mark out my shoulder to my waistline. I also went ahead to rule it out and also input my top length, which is from my shoulder to where I want my top to stop. And from the armhole, I came down by 1.5 inches to input my bust point. You can as well input from your shoulder to where your bust point is if you have the value. After getting the vertical lines, we now start inputting our shoulder divide by 2 on the starting line and also on the armhole, and I went ahead to join my armhole line. I sloped the shoulder by 1 inch to my neck width of 3 inches. From my armhole depth, I came up by 3 inches. I went out by 1/2 inch. I taper it back to my shoulder slope, and under my armhole depth, I imputed my bust divide by 4 value plus 1 inch ease allowance, which I went ahead to complete my armhole curve. From my neck width, I'm going to extend that neck width by 2 inches for my built-up neckline, and from that 2 inches I went in by 0.25 inches like so, and on the neck width I came out by 0.25 as well, and I'm going to join the 2 dot line like so. Watch very closely and see what I'm doing, and I'm going to curve it in to the shoulder line. You can see how I did it. So after getting your built-up line neckline, you are going to now determine how deep you want your v-neck to be. From your starting line, you go deep to form your deep neckline, and after which you are going to now trace it all the way to your built-up neckline. We will now start marking out our button line. So I went ahead to mark out 1.5 inches from my center front. I came out by 1.5 inches for my button line. The button line is not like shirt button line, it's like a flap that is lapping each other. I went ahead to come out by 1.5 inch, and I completed my curve like so. In order to enter the 1.5 inch button allowance, we have completed the built-up neckline for the front. This is how you go about it. We now start inputting our horizontal measurement, which is our body circumferences. I will now start inputting my body circumference. I've already imputed my bust circumference. I'm imputing my waist divide by 4 and also my upper hip divide by 4. Your upper hip is where your top stop. You are going to measure the round circumference of where your top stop. I also went ahead to impute 1 inch ease allowance on the pattern paper. Ease allowance is the allowance you give your cloth in order to give it freeness so that your cloth will not be tight. It's not the sewing allowance. While transferring the pattern to our men fashion fabric, we are going to add our sewing allowance on it. Our front pattern is basically ready. We are going to go ahead and cut it out. Watch me closely and see how I'm cutting our drafted pattern. I'm cutting on the lines that we have already marked. After cutting the front pattern, we are going to go ahead and start drafting the back. The back is also simple like the front. So I've gone ahead to cut out the front pattern. We will now move to the back pattern. So for the back, I've gone ahead to lay the pattern very flat, and the center back of this top is not going to have any slit, any form of slit or any zipper allowance, because the front is already having button allowance. I also came down by 3 inches to form my starting line, and from that my starting line I also came down by my armhole depth, and from the starting line as well I also came down by my waistline and also my top length. My top length is equivalent to the paper length. After getting all our vertical lines, we are going to start working on our armhole curve. I also slope the back shoulder by 1 inch, and I'm also going to divide the remaining value into 2 to get my midpoint, and I'm going to now go ahead and impute my bust divide by 4 plus 1 inch ease allowance and complete my armhole curve. We now start working on the built up neckline of the back. I'm going to extend the neck width by 2, and I'm going to form a block like so. I extend the neck width by 2 and the center back by 2 also to get a block form. After getting my block form, I'm going to come in by 0.25 like we did to the front, and come out by 0.25 on my neck width and connect the line, and now curve the line back to our shoulder line. After curving it, we are going to go ahead and now come down by 1 inch for our neck depth for the back. From the bust we have already, I'm going to come down by 1 inch to get our neck depth for the back, and I went ahead to curve it like so. You can see what I did there. So this is how you go about your built up neckline for the back, and this is it. Our neckline has been formed. I'm going to measure what I have there to see if the value that I have on the back, if it's the same thing with the front. So after measuring it, and I got the same value, 6.5 inches both for the front and for the back built up neckline. And this is it for the back. We now start imputing our horizontal measurement on our back pattern, which is our body circumferences. So we are basically going to go ahead and start imputing our body circumferences on the back pattern. And for the back pattern, we are also going to add ease allowance as well. But the difference between this back pattern with the other back pattern, is that this center back is not going to have any slit. It's going to be cut on fold because our fronts already have button allowance. So we don't need any slit or any zipper allowance for this particular top. So I've gone ahead to add all our body circumferences, which is our waist divided by 4 plus 1 inch is allowance, and our upper hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch is allowance. So our back pattern is ready. I will now go ahead and also cut it out, which after cutting it out, I'm going to go ahead and transfer the two pattern to our working fashion fabric, and I'm going to do it off camera, after which I'm going to come and show you how I added all the necessary allowance that we need for the top. I have cut the main fabric and this is it. For the bottom part, which is the hem part, I added 1 inch allowance on the hemming part, and for the side I added 2 inch sewing allowance. For our neck area I added half inch allowance. On the shoulder I added half inch, and on the armhole I added half inch as well. And I went ahead to cut out 4 pieces for the front because we want to use two for each other. We are going to use two for one side of the front and two for another side of the front. And for the back as well, I went ahead to cut out or half inch on the shoulder, half inch on the armhole, half inch on the neck, 2 inches by the side, 1 inch by the hem part. I also went ahead to cut out 2 pieces. We will now start arranging our pattern in order to go ahead and sew it on our sewing machine. So this is how it's going to look. I have placed two pattern on each side, and we are going to go ahead and sew half an inch on the neck, 0.25 on the button hole, half an inch on the hem part, half an inch on the side, and half an inch on the armhole area, and also 0.25 on the shoulder in order to turn it to get a very neat finishing. And I'm also going to do the same thing to the both side of the front and also on the back pattern. I'm also going to unpin this pattern for the back, and I'm going to flip it open and lay the two organza together, and also sew half an inch on the armhole, 0.25 on the shoulder, half an inch on the neck, half an inch on the side, and half an inch on the hem part in order to turn it to give it a very neat finishing as well. So I've gone ahead to sew it. If you watch closely you can see on the camera I've already sewn it, and I also went ahead to leave like 1 inch by the side in order to use it and turn all this our sewn pattern to the right side of our fabric. And I went ahead to notch the shoulder and also the neck in order to ease the allowances on that shoulder and the neck. I also do the same thing to the front pattern, and when I'm unpinning it in order to turn it to the right side from the little hole that I left by the side. So this is it. After turning it to the right side, I'm going to my ironing table to iron press it very flat so that our pattern will be looking so neat and fine. The same method I'm using on this back is also what I'm using on the front part. So this is it. After ironing both the front and the back, this is what you should have. You see how beautiful and neat our pattern is laying. So we will now start joining them from the shoulder. I'm going to join the two shoulder by half an inch, following the curve that we have on that shoulder in order to get our built up neckline. And for the side, I'm going to go ahead and mark out 1.5 inches because we have already used half inches to turn it, like to finish up the hem part or the fraying part of the organza. We are left with 1.5 inch, so I'm going to basically mark out the 1.5 inch by the two side of our beautiful top, and I'm going to go ahead and run a stitch both on the shoulder and also by the side of our top. The shoulder is half an inch while the side is 1.5 inch. So I've gone ahead to sew the side and also the shoulder, and this is the outcome of our top. You see that our top is coming out so neat and also fine. So you should prioritize making your outfit to be neat both in and out. We will start working on the sleeve. For the sleeve, you are going to measure from your sleeve cap to your wrist, and from your wrist to the longer part of your neck, and you are going to add extra 4 inches to that value. I'm trying to measure mine to get my own value. You can see how I'm trying to measure mine. So this is how you go about the length of your sleeve. After getting from your sleeve cap to your wrist, you measure from your wrist to the longer part of your neck, and we are going to go ahead and draft out our basic sleeve. I've gone ahead to draft out my basic sleeve. I have a well detailed tutorial on how to draft your basic sleeve. I will put it as an end screen so that you can go ahead and watch how to draft yours. So after drafting our basic sleeve, we are going to go ahead and divide the the wrist sleeve, the hem part of the sleeve, which is our wrist. We are going to divide it into two places because the volume of this, like the excess volume of the sleeve, is focusing more on the wrist side. It's not on the sleeve cap. So in order to control the fullness of the volume, we are going to use what we know as our slash and spread method. So I went ahead to slash the lines that we marked in order to get the slash and spread method pattern that we need, and we are going to use this pattern to cut out our main fabric. So I've gone ahead to fold our main fabric into two, and I'm placing the pattern on it. And watch me closely and see how I slash spread the wrist part in order to get a bigger volume on the wrist, and so that we can get enough volume to gather to form that puff sleeve. So I'm pinning down our slash and spread pattern, and after pinning it down, I'm going to use my tailor chalk to trace out what we have there. You can see that the sleeve cap is maintaining its fullness. We did not add any extra fullness on the sleeve cap. So this is the essence of using this slash and spread method, is to control the fullness of our sleeve. So after getting our desired pattern, I went ahead to cut it out, and we are going to gather that wrist part of our sleeve. So I'm going to move over to my sewing machine to gather it. We now start cutting the extra bind that we have on the sleeve. After getting all your value, you are going to fold the fabric into two like so, and you are going to mark out the length and also the circumference of your palm. So I'm going to measure round my palm like so. I'm going to input the value on the drafting part. I also went ahead to measure out my round wrist. So this is how you go about it. After marking it out, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out, and also cut out the second one because I'm going to cut it into two places because our sleeve is two. So after cutting it, I'm going to go ahead and sew by the side and turn it into the right side as well, in order to give that side a neat finishing. I've gone ahead to gather our main sleeve like I said earlier, and I'm going to use this extra bind to now sew it on the wrist part, and our sleeve is ready, and I will go ahead and sew the sleeve cap on our armhole part, and our beautiful top is basically ready. And this is it. So this is the outcome of it, and this is the end of our tutorial. You see how beautiful our top is looking. So if you have watched to this point, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and also press the subscribe button and also the notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified each time we post our video. Bye.